Hello, friends. Welcome to the show. Today, Matthew Davidson.
Back in the day when Coach Davies was the coach at South Grand Prairie, I was cutting my teeth and trying to announce, so he let me do freshman in JV. He took me up to Swafford in the press box, and he says, I want this guy to be our future announcer for South Grand Prairie. Davies just didn't know he wasn't going to be there next year because Davies got fired, and then they brought in Whitson. Yeah. With that being said, Swafford looked at him and says, I'm good. And then so I just took that as,
I was about to say, Swafford probably said, fuck you.
No, he did. He pretty much said that, and I was a little kid. I was like 19, and I'm just like, okay, I see how it is. I see how I'm going to have to do this. So I'm going to have to go ahead and do a bunch of free stuff, and that's what I did.
So Jim is 80 plus, right?
Old, yeah.
And so think about it. Once you hit 60s, you're old. So for 20 years, he's been listening to people tell him, here's your replacement, or here, why don't you move on? So he's finally been like, fuck you. You know? I don't think, and so I've kind of grown to admire Jim a little bit.
Yeah, my dad loves him, but I told my dad, I said, I don't think I can ever appreciate him the same way you do because of my reaction that I had to deal with that time.
Impressions are important, man.
So then when Bartell became the AD, he called me and he said, Matthew, I want you to know that you're going to do a lot of announcing for us. Yeah. And so I started doing cross country for him when he hosted the whole cross country from Mansfield and Arlington.
I like that you're doing anything and everything.
Hey, whatever they throw me.
Yeah, that shows that's what you want to do.
Yeah. And then basketball. Coach Brown got the job in 2018. I'll never forget this. Dr. Hull gave everyone in the district a supplies voucher to get money to help you, $100 to start off for the school year. And so this was when she was still alive. It's in 2018. He just got the job. He comes up to me at the Ed Center, and he says, I've heard a lot of good stuff about you. Call me.
Yeah.
So I called him, and Jones was on three-way with us, and Jones is like, we need you. Nice. And I was like, why? He's like, because we see you on Snapchat. We see that you host on the mic with DFW Pro DJs. I got the wristbands. We do homecomings and proms.
Very cool.
We encourage to jump, not dance.
Yeah.
Jump around like a concert. We don't want any of twerking or anything like that.
No twerking.
Yeah.
Well, hey, let's roll with it. I always start 3, 2, 1. Matthew Davidson, what's up, buddy?
How you doing, brother?
I'm excellent, man. I'm excited that you're here. We started a discussion off. What got me excited was GP sports.
Oh yeah,
and particularly GP basketball.
Yeah,
and you're the man. I mean, you're the voice. So the idea here is a little review. Yeah, right. And so
they had a great season.
I'm
one for the ages.
Okay, so I know I'm going to start with. We went second, third round of playoffs.
So we lost in the third round to Duncanville by 1 point in overtime.
1 point in overtime.
2 games away from state.
Yeah. Golly.
Now, a lot of people believe that the referees called a lot of extra fouls for Duncanville.
I mean, I heard that many times. Now, I watched online on my phone while I'm doing other stuff. I had it on. I remember when it was over, you have this it's like, okay, what's the net? It's not. You think they're going to pass it in, or there was a foul called, or it was just like, whoa!
It just happened. And it was in overtime. And the way that it all folded out is that GP was up on Duncanville the whole game, and then in the fourth quarter they kept on calling fouls and fouls and fouls, and I'm just like, it's almost like this feels like the 2006 Mavericks and Miami Heat game. It's just like, what are we doing? Dwayne Wade, what are we doing?
Untouchable.
Dude, Jalen Posey, they could not stop him.
Yeah.
They could not stop him. Jalen Posey pulled up on 3 guys from Duncanville at one point and hit a 3 and all at their faces.
So let's roll with that, Jalen Posey.
God,
so Jalen Posey was the senior last year, our best player by far.
By far.
He came.
So I'll explain it. He's from Grand Prairie, went to Adams.
Yeah, went to Adams.
Went up to GP as a freshman and a sophomore. Inman leaves. He gets recruited to go play at the I Academy. It's a basketball academy. I think they're over in Irving.
Yeah, so I was talking to somebody recently about the academies kind of have a different approach on this on public sports in general.
They're taking a lot of kids from public schools.
Yeah,
and it's making coaches in public schools have to work harder because they have to train the kids to get them up to that level.
Yeah.
And so with Jalen, what happened with Jalen is that he was at the I Academy and they didn't have a schedule in 2018, the first year I was announcing. Okay. So Jalen came back to Grand Prairie High School in December. But because of some rule, he could not play basketball for us during the season last year. So he just sat and he watched from a distance.
At Grand Prairie.
At Grand Prairie.
That takes humbleness and patience, especially a kid that age.
And that good.
Oh, yeah.
So he had already had offers from TCU, A&M, you name it, he had it. But he chose SFA because they told him he could start as a freshman.
So he'll start
Yeah.
Good.
And they put out guys in the NBA, and they go to March Madness every year. SFA, it does do that.
Oh, yeah, and that's when you telling me that, and I've always seen SFA as a basketball school. I mean, when I say basketball school, they're always in competition with somebody. They're not just, okay, today we have a good player, but SFA is always good. So Jalen Posey is like...
They play against Duke, too, every year.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Every year?
Duke pays them money to go play against them.
For sure.
And they beat Duke this year.
Okay. They go up there?
Sometimes. Or they'll go down to Stephen F.A., but usually they probably like to play at Duke.
Yeah.
Just for money purposes and TV, ESPN.
Oh, yeah. We get a whooping on somebody, but
Posey, like, the thing about Posey is that everybody on the team he grew up with, so he came back to play with his boys.
Yeah, man.
Because he felt like with the I Academy, they didn't have a schedule. They didn't. They had to pick different prep schools to play against. And he's like, I'm not going to be able to get highlights from my college film for doing this.
Yeah.
So he came back to GP, and Coach Brown was excited.
Yeah, so I remember Posey, and then is it Donald
Goldstone?
Goldstone. I mean, he was a baller too.
So Donald was dropping 30 a game last year by himself. Then Jalen comes in. His average goes a little bit down, but he doesn't care because he's happy.
Oh, yeah. So if you're dropping 30 and he goes to 25.
He was about 20. He about 20, 10, and 5.
Yeah.
10 rebounds, about 5 assists.
That's down.
Yeah.
That's great, man.
And he's 6'7". He's going to Texas A&M Commerce because he can go down there and he can do 2 years and he can transfer to a bigger school.
Okay.
And he wasn't recruited heavily, but he did get some offers, but he felt like A&M Commerce was good.
Is it scholarship, or is he just going?
He's going full ride.
Man.
Yeah.
So there's the second player in the season to have college scholarships.
And then,
when is the last time that's happened?
It's been a long time.
I don't know.
Not at GP.
Yeah.
Not in basketball. It's been since Brian Davis in 2004.
I remember Brian, yeah.
So Brian Davis was...
Coach Davis was our coach back in then.
Coach Baron Davis, yeah. So I was the basketball manager. Maybe
Barry.
Yeah,
Barry Davis.
Barry Davis. So I was the basketball manager in 06, 07.
Okay.
Kept stats and all that. That's the last time GP was really good.
Yeah.
But they weren't as good as this.
Yeah, Brian, man, I totally forget. He went to A&M and
went overseas.
So we were in school. Did he go overseas? I didn't know that. Very cool. Coach Davis played at A&M too.
Yeah.
And when he wasn't being a jerk, coaches are supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
He would talk about my A&M days, man. I do that turnaround jumper from. He had this kind of like memory nostalgia deal, and he said I put my hands up and waved to the girls in the crowd. And it was so much fun listening to him talk about it. So anyway, so 2 players went to Division I.
And then you still have some more talent there, and they're in the Arlington district, which is a lot easier now.
So our districts got redrawn, right?
They did. So we don't have DeSoto, Cedar Hill, none of them no more. No more
So
Mansfield.
5 years, 6 years now?
It was a long time. It was a beatdown.
I mean, we have the 3 best schools
in the state in almost every sport playing against us every year.
Cedar Hill, DeSoto, Duncanville, probably.
We had Duncanville. So Duncanville was taken out and put in Dallas for the past couple of years.
Okay.
But now Duncanville's back with Cedar Hill and DeSoto.
Yeah.
But I'm happy. They can have that. GP and South put us with Arlington or Irving. We're good.
Well, a guy like Savion Reed, right?
Savion Red.
Savion Red.
Yeah, Savion Red.
I'm glad he got that competition level.
Dude.
So the third guy is...
He is the third guy, but let me explain his history. So he's from Adams as well. Now, as a freshman...
I love hearing that, by the way, guys.
I was from Adams, too, yeah.
Adams, GP guys, that's so cool.
So Savion, basically with Savion as a freshman, he was on varsity last year, but he had some grade problems, and he didn't have a lot of good stuff going on. Had some off-the-court issues. Anyways, he got his head right this year.
Oh, good.
Got everything in it. Started as a sophomore, and you wouldn't have known he was a sophomore.
Oh, no, not at all.
He's a big boy, so you don't expect him to be good in basketball until he's doing it.
Yeah, when I started going to the games, Jackie was telling me, about the players, Donald and Jalen, and he goes, and then Savion, he's like he steals the ball all the time, and then
always steals the ball.
I mean, within 5 minutes, he like steals the ball and prints up the court and does a layup.
And those are transition buckets.
Oh yeah, and it's just funny how I guess it's that football with the receiver and the hands and just being able to.
He's a dog too.
Yeah, well, that's what I saw. That like if he sticks his hand out, it's not just slapping a ball. I mean, it's gonna be boom. It's in my hand. I'm running with it.
And he's getting to where his vertical is getting better. He's losing a little bit of weight, and you can start seeing him dunk in the future. I'm trying to tell you, he's 6'1". He's about to get a little bit taller.
So is he our? He'll be a junior.
He's our star.
He'll be our star.
He's a sophomore right now. He'll be a junior next year. Then we got Matthew McGee that's coming back, and then we got Jamez Perez, 6'7" center.
Okay.
He came off the bench this past year, but he'll start next year.
Very cool. Man.
And then we got Barack Holland. He was a freshman on varsity this year. Came in, got some points, and then I remember against Waxahachie, he came in, got some buckets, and they were like, he's a freshman, like trying to let Waxahachie know.
Wait. That was the guy.
Had a box haircut.
Well, I love the box cut. Who was the guy that came in Duncanville game and scored real quick? You told me something about 10 points in the first.
That's the number 20. Yeah, he just got in there and did it.
Wow.
Freshman,
so
got up in there and did it.
Freshman in a third-round playoff game.
Yeah.
Rocking it. Okay, so the season this year.
They were on like a 20-game winning streak. They were I think when the rankings were all done, even though they lost to Duncanville, let's not forget, Duncanville is defending state champs.
Defending state champs.
GP
Wow.
should have, could have, and would have beat them if they would have made 2 free throws.
Yeah, 2. Simple.
2 free throws, you go play against everybody. You can't tell me GP wouldn't beat the same teams Duncanville did and go to state. GP would have been to state.
Oh, yeah, and now that I think about it, their free throws, they actually missed a lot, right?
GP did.
Jeez, How frustrating is that?
If you go back and watch the tape on the game, you know that we lost the game. Duncanville did not beat us. We were up by 10 the whole game until the fourth quarter.
And then
so with that
whistle after whistle.
With that being said, that should show everybody that Coach Brown can do it. Coach Brown can do it. He'll get you there, and he'll take you to the promised land.
What's his name?
Baron Brown.
Baron Brown.
Yeah, that's why I had confused with Barry and Baron.
Right. Where's he from?
So he is originally from Lancaster. He graduated Lancaster, was a star at Lancaster, early 90s, went to Texas Tech, balled out at Texas Tech, and then he got his teaching degree.
Baron Brown, Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've watched it. I feel like
he has highlights, and he's dunked in games.
And my good friend went to Tech, and he's just crazy Tech. I guarantee he knows exactly who he is.
Oh, I got a bunch of Tech people. Plus, Coach Bartell was at Tech.
Oh, was he really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so you said this season, I remember the first couple of losses were in tournaments.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even like a. It was
so they lost.
They won 4 or 5 games in a row, and then in a tournament.
So they were on an 8-game winning streak, and then they lost to Hebron in a tournament. And the way that they lost to Hebron in a tournament is that the ref gave another possession to Hebron that they shouldn't have got, and then Hebron got the ball. Hebron. But Hebron was ranked when this happened.
Were they?
They were number 18 in the state when they beat GP. So then GP didn't get ranked until they went on like a 10-game winning streak, and then finally GP was like 15, and then GP beat South, and then they move them up to like the top 10, and they stayed in the top 10 for the rest of the season. Yeah.
So let's do a little bit of, hey, you got 2 Division I players who got scholarships. I mean, they're going to win regardless, but we lost those guys. And we got a good coach, but I mean, what's your
so there's some kids that have moved into the school that I already know about.
And I was told that we had guys transfer in from Cedar Hill,
and they sat out this season.
Sat out the whole season.
They sat out this season knowing that they would get to play next year.
That's pretty good dedication. When you know, I mean, I just can't imagine, especially in a high school.
When you look at Coach Brown, you know he's a coach. He's a dog. He wants defense. He doesn't care about threes. He doesn't want threes.
Yeah.
We don't play off threes. Jalen Posey would hit threes and stuff, but that's different.
It's amazing how strong just simple fundamental basketball.
Oh, he puts a chair on the court and makes them play around a chair in practice.
Really, really, very good. So I guess assuming we got a long time. I assume everything will be good by then, but you never know.
I would like to think that we would, at the worst case scenario, we would come in 4th place and still make the playoffs.
Yeah, because there's 4.
This is a transition year, but we still have Savion. Savion's going to get buckets. He'll get you 25 a game.
Yeah, so what about so who's in the district?
So we got Martin. Martin's pretty good in basketball, but we beat Martin this year.
Yeah.
Lamar, we beat them this year.
Yeah.
We beat I think they haven't played Bowie, but Bowie's solid. But
yeah, I'm sure Bowie's solid.
We're better than Bowie. Arlington's not very good.
That's cool. It's Arlington schools again. That seems like that. I don't know when it was or wasn't those, but I just feel like that's a little bit tighter of a group. I always compared ourselves to Arlington as a Grand Prairie kid.
Yeah.
I've never thought about comparing myself to DeSoto, even though we played DeSoto teams.
We would compare ourselves to Irving when I was in school.
Sure. Well, yeah. I was going to say Irving and Arlington. That's the thing. Is Irving in our district?
Not anymore.
They were for years, right? I mean, that was
Yeah.
the main thing. If nothing else, it was Nimitz and Irving
And MacArthur.
High School. MacArthur, yeah.
And then we had Coppell, and then I think we had Trinity and LD Bell back in the day.
Yeah, I remember going up there. That was a nice stadium. And they had the Samoans. That was the big thing.
The Tongans. Yeah. They do their ritual before every game and after every game.
Isn't that cool?
It is.
Okay, so tournaments. We didn't win a tournament, but that's where our early losses came from.
So we did win a tournament out in Tyler.
Okay.
We went out to Tyler, and it was at the same time that South Grand Prairie was in the Whataburger tournament.
Okay.
The Whataburger tournament out here is supposed to be the biggest, baddest tournament. If you want your team to be ranked, you go to that.
Why wasn't Gophers in that?
Because they weren't invited.
Yeah.
They didn't know about us.
Didn't know.
I bet they invite us this year.
Oh, yeah.
And with that being said, so we went out to Tyler and beat Tyler, John Tyler, all the Tyler schools, even teams that came out from Louisiana, we beat them.
Wow.
And so Coach Brown told me, he said, we're going back there again. I said, why? He said, it gives our boys motivation. They go out there and beat everybody, come back out here and keep going.
Yeah, man. That's smart. There's always do you go against tougher competition to make you better, or do you go against weaker competition to build confidence? It's
a little bit of both, because the district that he was going into, he already knew that the competition was tough, and he had already beat Mesquite Horn, that was a ranked team, before he went to that tournament. So he knew, and he beat Highland Park by 20 before any of that. So, Highland Park was a ranked team in 5A.
Yeah, when does the season start? When is...
So the last week of October, first week of November.
Yeah, so going into
kind
fall, early.
Yeah, kind of Thanksgiving time-ish.
Yeah, so
from
starting
Halloween.
to play tournaments on the weekends. And very cool.
And then football's dwindling down, and I wish our football team was what our basketball team is, but I'm not going to get upset about it.
Nah, and football's always fun. There's no doubt about it.
It's been a long time. We went to the playoffs a few years ago. Bartell's last year coaching, but that was because Cedar Hill played an ineligible player.
Oh, really?
So we were able to get in. We got a win against Cedar Hill when we really lost to them, but they played a player that shouldn't have been playing.
What was was there an expansion of because we were fourth, right? Mm-hmm. And how long ago was it? How long has it been 4?
So that was...
Because it was 3.
It was 4. It became 4, I think, in the year 2012.
Okay.
And before that, it was 3. And then my dad said back in the 80s, only 2 teams go.
Oh, really?
From your district.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting because, when we made the playoff, and I was happy, obviously. It's cool for Grand Prairie, but it's almost like a grain of salt.
I went down there. I drove down to Waco Midway.
And that was their first game?
Yeah, it was their first playoff game in 30 years almost.
What? How'd that go?
Well, they scored. So here's how the kickoff went. The kickoff goes, it's Waco Midway. So let me paint the picture. Waco Midway went to state after beating GP. They went to state and they lost to a team from Houston. Long story short, what Midway did is they kicked the ball off. Little kid, Tylexis Strader, runs a kickoff return back for a touchdown. And then we're like, okay, we're here to play, boy.
Yeah.
Then Midway goes down and scores. Then we go down and score. And then Midway just keeps on scoring, and we don't score no more.
Yeah. I don't want to get too far off subject, but I remember my time frame, I get lost. But do you remember Matt Lechuga? Mm-hmm. Dude.
Went to Segu, yeah.
That kid was fun.
Fast.
So do you fast. He was one of the best players on the field
2012, 2013, 2014 kind of
Was that far along ago?
Yeah.
Do you know what he ended up... Did he go to college or anything?
I think he just got through getting ready to graduate.
He's just so small.
Yeah.
I think that seemed like that was his thing. He was just a short dude.
Hell of a player.
Oh, man.
Probably the best little running back from GP in a while.
I would rather... I'd watch that all day long. It was just so cool. He could play both sides of the field, return the ball, running back. Most of the time is what I saw him do. Mm-hmm. More than any others, I noticed him.
Now, from Baylor, there is a running back from Grand Prairie, but he got recruited to go play for Trinity Christian with Dion, so he left.
Really?
Yeah. Quaylen Jones.
Okay.
He's at Baylor playing right
Baylor now.
He played at GP as a freshman and a sophomore, and then he got recruited by Dion, and that caused a bunch of drama.
Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
God.
Because
what a jerk.
Why would you come take our best player?
Yeah.
Just go get somebody else.
Yeah.
He could have stayed here, but that was Bartell's last year coaching.
Really?
Yeah. And then we went to the playoffs, and then Quaylen was looking like, oh, they went to the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that could have been you.
Well, hopefully people read that. Stick with it, man.
GP just needs people to believe in the football, and then it will come back.
Yeah.
Basketball believed.
So that's that's good about Brown. People see that, and they believe.
Yes.
They're in. They see a guy like Coach Brown. And
very intelligent.
Yeah. Shout out to Torrey Jones, too.
Love Torrey. He's the defensive coach, actually.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I knew. Of course, he's been around now for a few years, and I'm not sure if it was 94, 95, or 96 when he graduated. But when I was coming up, he was the older guy. Him and their group of players. I just thought that I just looked up to them.
They were all pretty good.
Oh, well, good or not.
They made it to the playoffs.
Yeah. And again, I don't even know. the idea was they were the older guys that played good team basketball. I never knew how good or bad.
So how you're talking about Tory is how my class of people would look at Rhett Bomar's class.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Coach Barmore was our head coach when I was there.
So Rhett was a senior when I was in 8th grade.
And so that would have been.
And he would come back to Adams and talk to us because that's where he's from too.
Yeah. Did he graduate 04?
04.
Yeah.
Either 03 or 04.
I think 03.
Yeah.
Because I think he was a freshman when I was a senior.
Yeah.
And then so 8, 7. I think you were 6th grade. Yeah, yeah. Pretty cool.
Adams puts out the most talent on the north side.
Isn't that crazy?
For the past 30 years.
And it's usually pretty decent talent, but
you give us another Adams, South would never win another sport.
You're right.
They wouldn't. It's just facts.
Well, and Kennedy's kind of that mix, right?
We get some Kennedy at GP, but if we got all of Kennedy, and if we had because they have Reagan and Truman and Jackson.
Yeah.
If we even had a Truman, we'd be okay, but we don't.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be honest, the demographics in Grand Prairie on the north side lean towards soccer.
Sure, no doubt about it. And we got a great freaking
soccer team.
man.
Hey, I love it. Go to the playoffs every year.
Yeah. You ever consider calling soccer, or just not?
So they actually reached out to me to call soccer, but then we actually looked and they play the same time as the basketball.
Yeah, yeah. And basketball is your preference.
Well, basketball I get to use my energy, and I have a lot of energy. And soccer you get to use it, but you don't get to use it as much. Basketball is like boom, 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 3-pointer.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 3-pointer.
Yeah.
Soccer you got to wait to do goal.
Yeah. Yeah, and you soccer player at all?
Well, I'll play with my friends and stuff. I wish I would have gotten to play it more.
I mean, it seems like you took stats and were the manager for basketball.
And then I played football at GP, but I was a backup.
Right, and that alone just shows your passion for calling those types of sports. If you don't play that sport, it's very understandable that you.
That's why this COVID-19 shutdown has really affected me because, I'm also the softball announcer at GP, so we would be doing softball.
Okay.
Right now. Jeez. And I'm missing out on being around that because our softball girls, the last softball game I announced, we hit 4 home runs in the game.
Really?
Vivian Harper-Millan.
Man, sorry you're dealing with that, man. I know it's tough, but thanks for trying to fill that up. Coming on here, talking a little sports.
Hey, we got to do what we got to do to replace it.
Yeah. We
can talk about the past.
Yeah, right. Start playing replays and get some practice.
I've been watching Maverick replays.
Really? I don't have. I cut the cable 4 or 5 years ago.
I got Hulu.
Yeah, and so I do have Netflix, but I need to figure out.
I got Disney Plus as well.
Disney Plus,
$7 a month.
Yeah, I think the Star Wars stuff is on Disney Plus.
Yeah, so Marvel's on there as well.
Yeah, and plus,
Avengers.
I'm not scared to watch an old Disney movie. You know what I mean?
Me either.
It's been a while, but so I love casual conversation here. So. After the tournaments, they start playing regular games and then get into districts. So
they played. He had a tough regular season. He did that.
Season.
Yeah. So he called the coaches. He wanted to play against Wilmer Hutchins because Wilmer Hutchins was in 4A and they went deep in the playoffs the year before.
Okay.
So he got them. Then he got Mesquite Horn, who was ranked when GP beat them.
We say Mesquite Hornets.
They're the Jaguars.
Jaguars.
So they're called John Horn High School of Mesquite.
Okay.
It's named after a guy.
Who was the Skeeters?
That's Mesquite High School.
Mesquite High School.
And they beat GP pretty bad in football this year.
Yeah, really? Okay, okay. I remember playing them back in my day.
They won state a few times.
Really? Yeah.
They used to be good back in the day.
Wow. It's crazy how somebody comes out of nowhere.
Well, it's generations. Generations grow up and move, and they take their talents on. And
You're right.
It's rotations as well. So right now, GP's hot in basketball.
Yeah.
And they're going to be hot for the next 2 or 3 years because of the coaching, not only, and the fact that I know what's coming up.
Well, yeah, and people see that winning culture, and they want to be around it. And
it's open enrollment. Come on over.
Yeah, and then the Adams kids are now looking up at the winning GP basketball players.
I'll tell you right now, we got a couple kids from the south side that are going to be going to GP the next year.
Wow, for basketball.
Yeah, and they've never stepped foot at South Grand Prairie High School. They're middle school kids coming to GP.
Wow.
From Reagan, from Truman.
Yeah, very interesting, and that's what's
they've already put in their transfers.
That's what's exciting about seeing that winning culture is, not only does it provide success in a sport, but everybody around them. The students, the faculty, you have a little school pride.
Yeah, and it's no offense to South Grand Prairie, but you guys have had your time. You've been good for so long.
Yeah, I mean, I hate South and every part of it. Not really, but
I have connections to South because I did GP. Announcing. I used to announce South Grand Prairie baseball back in 2016.
Yeah,
and they went deep in the playoffs. They went 2 rounds deep.
Okay, yeah. Actually, my boy Maverick.
Mav, I know Mav, man.
Yeah, his little brother Julio and I grew up together, and then Mav was part of that older group because he was my brother's age. I always liked watching them. They let me play basketball with them.
So Mav went to GP too?
Oh, yeah.
But did his kids go to South?
Yeah. And what's it? But anyway, I've seen him post clips of his son. He's really good. And, of course, I don't know. Again, time escapes me at times. I don't know if his son's graduated yet.
He has one son graduate and one that's in high school.
One's in high school. Super cool dude.
Yeah. Great guy.
And it's interesting.
I just wish he would make his kids go to GP.
Yeah, right. Well, man, home where he went, right?
Yeah.
If nothing else.
Well, it's like my father told me, because my father moved to the South Side whenever I was in high school, and he says, "You're staying at GP."
Yeah.
And then my sisters, they all lived walking distance from South Grand Prairie. They still went to GP, all cheerleaders.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. A little Gopher pride in there, man. And so anytime the basketball team or football team or baseball team.
Did you see the crowds come out for the basketball games?
Yeah, man. It's pretty cool.
They supported.
And they grew.
And they got bigger and bigger.
Yeah, that was the best part.
So the game that you watched on the computer,
yeah,
that game probably had about 15,000 people in there. And
are you kidding me? I had no idea.
Oh, that place was packed.
15K?
Let me go back.
No. You're
probably at least 5,000.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds more
It's
accurate.
huge in there, though. You saw how big it was. I'm imagining it again. Let me see. GP side was packed over here.
Yeah.
GP side was packed over here. And then where I was sitting, GP side was all the way up.
All the way up.
Full with blue. And Duncanville was big, but Duncanville's used to that.
Oh, yeah.
We came out like this was our state championship
game. It was, and we got screwed out of it, right?
We did, by the refs.
Dog.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. And
but we missed our free throws, so we can't blame anybody.
No, I get it. You know, I really enjoyed that whole journey. So as I was getting up to that, once that season started, what was it, 20 games, 21 games?
21 game winning streak. Yep.
And it was like Waxahachie, I thought.
Undefeated at home.
Waxahachie was undefeated at home.
Oh, we're undefeated at home.
We were. Okay.
Yeah, so Waxahachie, we went to Waxahachie. I'll never forget this. Pouring down rain. This is in January.
Yeah.
It was one of the last district games.
Yeah.
Waxahachie, we beat them by 1 point here. And
I was at that game.
We knew how good they were. You remember when Posey got the layup?
Oh, yeah.
And then I go, Posey, and I just sounded out the whole time.
Yeah, very
That's
cool.
called the home court advantage when your announcer knows how to cater to what you're doing.
Good.
Now, the only thing that Waxahachie had on us is they have these big old jumbotrons on the wall that plays video of the kids in their lineup when they're coming out.
Okay.
They have lights that are flickering, and they have strobe lights, and everything's turned out. They have smoke. They got the whole presentation because A, they have money, and B, their school's brand new. So it's a brand new campus, and I'm driving out there in the rain, pouring down rain, and I'm just like, it's not feeling great. So I walk in there, and our girls get beat pretty bad, and then I go up there, and our boys are doing great until the fourth quarter. Now, the fourth quarter comes, and then in transition, Waxahachie just got hot from three. It felt like they were the Golden State Warriors. They just kept on hitting threes.
Wow, yeah.
And then finally, I was just like, you know what? It's probably good that we lost this game to get ready for the playoffs because we were already on a 21 game winning streak.
Yeah.
And we lose to them, and then they went to Mansfield and beat Mansfield by almost 30.
Yeah, and wasn't Mansfield better
Solid?
than? Well, I would say Waxahachie. Were they? I mean, they weren't second.
Let me explain. Waxahachie had two kids transfer in there during the summertime. One from Lake Ridge, and the other one was from a Mansfield school.
Okay.
When they did that, they sent a message to everybody that we're trying to go win state.
Wow.
But they lost to Richardson because Richardson was just as good as they were.
Yeah.
And Richardson's still going to be good. They got two sophomores that are going to be going D1.
That's fun, man. And so they lose that. They go 20 games in the regular season, including district. They lose.
They still won district. They lost one game in district, and that was only to Waxahachie.
At Waxahachie. At the end of the season.
But they swept South.
Swept South.
Swept DeSoto.
Yeah,
swept
Cedar Hill.
Swept all the Mansfield schools.
That's crazy, man.
And those teams have been beating GP for years. Even the Mansfield schools used to beat GP.
Like a regular beating, not just like, they beat us for a few years. Like it's just always been.
No, we haven't been good in a while.
Yeah, basketball has been an armpit. And, you know, it's just what it is, you know what I mean? And it's so exciting.
We're good now, though.
Oh, yeah, baby.
We just got to get our girls turned around in basketball.
Okay.
Coach Cooper, she's trying. She came over from Duncanville 2 years ago. She used to be an assistant coach at Duncanville. She's been trying to implement her system. It's just that we got to get the girls to play basketball in middle school and not when they get to high school.
Sure.
A lot of these girls are not playing in middle school.
Yeah, they've never even picked up a ball probably.
No, they get up to GP and she has to teach them how to play basketball.
Wow.
If you got to teach somebody how to play basketball in high school, it's going to be hard to win games.
Yeah. And, you know, honestly, Adams is a tough school, man. I mean, you got to have your crap together to get through there.
So Adams girls will put out one or two good players.
Yeah.
But then you got to think you got all these other girls that come in that have never played.
Oh yeah, and I got friends of mine who have daughters that are basketball guys, and their daughters are playing. I mean, at like 8 and 9 years old, and like seriously. And so, if you're not playing in middle school, it's almost like throwing the towel type deal.
Mm-hmm.
But anything's good. Any sport, I think, is worth doing. So okay. So then they made the playoffs. They had clinched the playoffs before that loss, though, right?
So they clinched when they beat South.
Yeah, that was interesting, which made the loss almost easier to digest and you almost blame it on it. Like,
you see that video that GP basketball posted today?
No, I don't think so.
Of us ripping down the banner at South Grand Prairie when we won.
No way. Was that on Facebook?
Yeah, and it's on Instagram.
So they the Facebook.
It's on the GPAHS basketball Instagram
page.
Yeah, maybe GPHS basketball. It should pop up, and if not, it'll be Gopher basketball. We'll try GPHS. So basically, the banner was up, and it said something about you're gonna have a loss, because at that point, GP hadn't lost. They were undefeated in the district.
You're gonna have a loss. How about that?
Yeah. So that's the thing about it, is that it was more of an emotional thing for GP because they had gotten over South, and South had been big brother in basketball for so long, and when you beat Big Brother, you're like, I'm Big Brother now.
Even in my years when we were halfway decent, South was just better. It's just
South's always been better in everything except for soccer. They can't touch us in soccer.
I wonder why that is, man.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's the Hispanic population that we have on the north side that feeds in, because they play soccer their whole life.
Yeah, it's just it's a culture thing.
And South has Hispanic kids too, but it's just that our kids play in middle school. Our kids at Fannin right now, they beat everybody.
Yeah, and doesn't even Travis even have a little
Travis has a nice little soccer team.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
They won't let us have an A team.
So go ahead and say, man, you're a...
try Gopher basketball. Try Gopher or GPHS basketball.
Can you tell us, you teach at Adams, right?
No, so I'm over at Travis.
Travis,
yeah.
I knew that. I just said that. But
and the Travis soccer team went undefeated last year.
Very cool. You work with the handicapped kids.
Yes.
Man, that's so cool, man.
Yeah, SPED, DLS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very awesome, man.
I've been working on Zoom with a lot of them lately. We're winding down the school year now.
Definitely takes a unique person.
Try GPHS basketball. Maybe that'll bring it up.
GP.
If not, let me go on my Instagram and make sure.
He'll get it.
So I can get the name for you.
Minnesota Golden Gophers, nice.
Good old Golden Gophers.
That was it Bobby Jackson?
Okay, so it is GPHS boys basketball.
Was it who was the Golden Gopher played for Sacramento for years?
Which one was it?
Bobby Jackson.
Bobby Jackson, yeah. Good 3-point shooter, yeah.
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah, so they posted that. Yep, there you go.
On the right? The one on the
far
right.
And I was down on the court. There goes me with my hat. You see my phone? I got my phone and my hat on the far right.
Far right, nice. Play that, Axel.
I got my little hat with my jacket. I'm recording all them.
Is that at South?
They threw. There was people up there that took the banner off. Yeah, that's at South.
There's Torrey, Coach Jones. So they toss it down to everybody.
They're stomping on that banner, and then the principal from GP's like, "Okay, come on. And then admin from South came down, and they got real upset.
Well, I noticed that with Coach Davis. No, Coach Brown.
Yeah. See, 4 hours ago he said, "Run it back." That's letting you know that GP knows they got talent coming back.
Yeah, boy, run it back. That's so cool. And then I did notice that he would spend. I hate the type that yells. And
if you go down, you may find a highlight of Posey on there. We can show how good Posey was. That's Posey blocking. Right down. If you go in the middle, that's Posey blocking. Right there.
Yeah.
He's blocking the best player in the state of Texas.
It kind of looks like a foul to me.
Yeah.
Still, the best player in Texas.
He got his face, but he did get to the ball.
His hand's on the ball regardless.
But that's Jalen Posey blocking Micah Peavy. Micah Peavy is rated one of the best players in Texas. But so is Posey.
Is that? But you know if that was called?
They called that foul.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jalen Posey did the same thing to Christian Turner from South. He blocked a shot when we were at South.
Awesome, man.
Now, if you go down, you may see a highlight of Posey actually doing something on the court, so we could show the viewers.
Yeah,
he also got a bobblehead. That's a really big deal for someone to get a bobblehead.
Yeah, I totally saw that. Yeah, Jalen Posey bobblehead. So, by the way, is that accessible? I mean, is it just a couple of them somewhere somebody have? Or
so basically, the bobbleheads are given out by Inside High School Sports with NBC and Pat Doney.
Yeah.
And Coach Barron Brown got Coach of the Year in basketball this year.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
GP has
there goes Savion right there. That's the future of GP right there.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there goes some highlights right there for you. This is against Mansfield High School at Mansfield.
Look at that. Woo,
boy.
boy.
Let you know he's here.
But I just want to remind you, eat all your vegetables.
Eat all your vegetables.
I love it.
Man, look, Monrelli. I know Monrelli. He hung out with Maverick. We were just talking about Maverick. Monrelli 40, who commented just
You like
then.
that? He was like, man, hold up.
Man, hold up.
If you go down, that's Goldstone to Posey. That was just like, and then there's Savion over there. If you go down a little bit more, let me see. Is there another video?
There's Newey Scruggs
talking about him. Then
GP.
they got the highlights from. Okay, so if you go over here in the left-hand corner over here, this is against DeSoto, and that was probably one of my favorite
That's
games.
end of the game, too.
Yeah, because GP just really dominated them.
Oh, they're up 13.
Boom! Let you know.
Jeez.
Just to let you know. One
Was
more
that-
time.
Was that Goldstone? No, that was Jalen.
That's Posey. And those guys that he's dunking on, those are guys that got D1 offers too.
Oh, yeah.
Just to let you know. That game was whenever GP's crowd started getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, okay, that's his home. Awesome. Boy, I remember just going randomly over the years.
And if you go down, there's some other highlights we can show the viewers real quick. So that shows you over here on the left-hand corner, you have the South Grand Prairie highlights. Let's see what they got there for us.
2,300 plays. That's pretty cool.
So there goes Savion Red, the sophomore, coming back.
How
Boom.
tall is he?
He's about 6'1".
Yeah.
He's going to get bigger.
Well, yeah, as a sophomore, he's probably got a couple more inches in him.
Yeah, that's the clock running down. That's when GP. Here you go again. There goes Posey, just to let him know.
Boom, baby.
They stole the ball. That's
My boy Monrelli still commenting. That's funny, man.
GP. And then Suave Mike Media is a friend of mine. He's a big camera guy in this area, so for him to comment on something like that,
Oh, good.
yeah, he's not from GP. And I live in GP, but I have aspirations to be, an NBA announcer and stuff like that. So I'm not sure how long I'm going to be in GP, but while I'm here, I'm going to help people as much as I can.
Man, that means a lot, man, and especially two Grand Prairie guys sitting down, could use all.
Yeah, I had this guy tell me the other day. He was like, "There's Selena Gomez, and there's Rhett Bomar, and then there's Matt Davidson."
Yeah, boy.
And I was like, "Well, I stay in my lane. I
Yeah.
stay in my little podcast announcer radio lane." Yeah.
Well done, man. Keep it up.
I don't know if there's anything down there. I wish there was.
Hey, look for there's a few more.
If you can find the highlight of Waxahachie, if we can go down a little bit, that was probably my favorite game of the year. Cake, if you keep going down, that was at Cedar Hill. That was a good one, but if we keep going down, I think you might see the Waxahachie. Okay, here we go. Okay, here goes the Waxahachie. That's the Waxahachie game. I don't know.
Look at that, 23, 21-3 they were.
Yeah, man. Here we go. This is perfect. This is at the end of the game.
Oh, I was there. I was in this one.
And I'm on the mic, so you'll hear me announcing after he scores this.
I remember that, dude. Oh, look at that.
You hear me on the mic?
But that wasn't game, right? Or was that?
It wasn't game. They actually put another 2 seconds back on the clock, and then GP ended up beating them in. There goes Coach Torrey Jones right there.
Yeah, look at him.
Look at him. He's like, what?
Right in the middle of it.
So all those guys that are talking to Posey are coming back next year. All those 3 guys that were surrounding him, they're all coming back.
Very cool.
And here he goes again. How clutch is that with time running down?
Man.
What are you going to do? Waxahachie is one of the best teams in the state, and they did that to them.
Yeah.
That's when GP's crowd put everybody on notice. That's when GP as a basketball team, when they beat Waxahachie, that's when everybody knew they were for real.
Yeah. Of course, that was the first game, right?
Yeah,
and that
was
was
the
here. The
first one.
second game there is what they when
And
they
that was the
lost.
final score. Close game.
Oh no, I remember that. I was there. That was.
If you go down, we'll see if we have any regular season ones to kind of give you where they were, and that's it all started. Okay, here we go. We got some Inside High School Sports.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they were on TV a lot this year. GP was, and deservingly so. Yep, this is when South came to our house. Remember, it was icing and bad weather the day before. Not ice, but it was bad weather, so they postponed the game to a Saturday.
Yeah, because I couldn't go to the Saturday one. I was ready for the Friday one. I couldn't go.
Yeah, I remember this. South came over, and it was a close game, but then GP just started pulling away at the end.
There's a lot of the boosters, more or less.
Bartell and everybody over there.
Jackie and his buddies, they told me all about it all the backstories, all the kids and how they're helping them out and trying to help them out. And
They are.
I mean, we're talking
Kids that don't even know if they're going to be able to eat.
Oh yeah, I mean,
These are kids that's being helped by Jackie.
Right, more or less. The booster club's just trying to. I mean, and a lot of times that's confused with like paying them or getting like kids getting rich. Like no, we're simply feeding them like food
because their parents aren't around.
They're not sure.
Yeah. And if their parents are around, they're at work because they have to.
And that's what I think's even stronger about what's going on with this.
That's the difference between the North and the South Side. People don't want to talk about it, but the South Side has all the money.
Yeah.
The North Side will not because it's just an older community. If you go knock down all the frame houses in the neighborhood that I grew up in on
sure,
the neighborhood that I grew up in, then you could see maybe a transition. But with all that being said, I feel like what is it? I feel like it's all just already too late.
Well, yeah, I mean, whatever. I get what you're saying. These homes on the north side were built in the 40s and 50s, and
not as much as attractive as the south side.
Like everything, things are changing, things are turning around, but not yet.
Not yet.
So the families and people that are over here are just a little bit poorer and have a little bit less money.
And I was poor growing up. I'm still still trying to get better.
Still trying to make it, man. Yeah. There's no doubt about it, and that's what's so exciting about having something like Jalen Posey just rock our worlds.
Jalen Posey was my version of Rhett Bomar.
Nice.
And I get to see him up and close. I didn't really get to see Bomar as much because when I was in middle school, I mean, yeah, we know Rhett Bomar, we look up to you, but like I didn't watch you the same way I watch Posey. I watch Posey like I'm watching art.
Yeah.
I watch Posey and I'm announcing his name every time he scores.
You're on it.
If you go down a little bit, maybe I think this one over here. Maybe that's whenever they first started being good. This video over here on the far right. Maybe that's when the people started to realize that they could. This was against Wilmer Hutchins. I remember this.
Who runs that page?
Tori.
Yeah. Nice.
Tori runs it. I remember that.
Boom, baby.
I remember that. There's Tori standing up with the blue on.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And you can just look how good they are. They all knew. They all knew what to do. So all those guys, look at all those guys on the bench. They're coming back. This guy was a senior with the ball. That guy obviously Posey. He's a senior.
Savion's there.
Yeah, Savion's on the bench along with the other guys that are coming back.
Honest to goodness, it's going to be fun just to watch him. I enjoyed watching him play outside of Posey and Goldstone. So it's worth going to the games to see a guy like Savion Red play basketball.
Because if they stop Posey, then you had to worry about Donald. You stopped Donald, but you couldn't stop Savion.
No, you can't stop three guys that good. And so hopefully you'll have equal. Obviously, I don't think you're going to be as good as. So Jalen, Stephen F. Austin, I mean, starting as a freshman, I mean, this cat, he's no joke. He's the real deal. So he could be NBA type.
I think he will. I think it goes to Stephen F. Austin realistically for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And then I think he makes a jump to the league.
And that's how you figure out if he's.
I think he's already good enough to go play in Australia like these other kids are doing.
Oh yeah.
I think he's already good enough.
Play professionally.
You see how he dunks on people?
Oh, dude. And you can only score so much a game, right? I mean,
right.
So if he averages 30 points a game, or what was what he averaged?
He was averaging
20,
I think 20 to 25 a game.
25. I mean, you can't.
So if you click on this one, that will show you a Baron Brown. Not that one, the one on the left. I'm sorry. That's a Baron Brown highlight of him at Texas Tech.
Oh, cool. I'm gonna see if
here goes Baron Brown.
Likes him.
Boom. Let you know.
That's so cool, man.
That's him right there.
That seems like an old video. However, that's when we were. I mean, you said he was
90s.
90s, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that would have been like I was in high school in the night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or the late 90s.
I was born in 1990, so I'm 30 right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was born in 82.
Nice. So you're around LeBron James's age.
Yeah, I think so.
Because LeBron was born in 83.
Yeah, so I'm a year older than Bron.
I'm a big LeBron fan.
I'm sorry.
I know. I also love Jordan. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and act like Jordan's not the GOAT. He still is.
I think one of LeBron's problems is he says, like, he'll be in a conversation. He's like, that's when I knew I was the greatest of all time. Or
he's already referring to himself as it.
Yeah. And Jordan, I guess, does too. But I think people, when Jordan says it, they're like, oh, yeah, obviously. And then when Bron says it, they're like, hold on, buddy. Well,
wait till the Space Jam comes out because he's already working on number 2.
Well,
he'll get some backlash from that.
Bron's got more basketball left in him, right? so he's not done yet. And then, I mean, what if he goes on and wins
But
6
he
straight
is
titles?
on the end of his career. I will say
Yeah.
that. He's probably got 3 or 4 good years left.
So my thing with Braun is he seems like he's got a lot bigger body, and that's just harder to maintain.
It is.
When you get older.
It
you
is.
just start hitting a wall where it's like, all right, it's hard to move up and
He's
down
going to
the
have to
court.
slim down.
Whereas Jordan was lanky. I
Mhm.
mean, Jordan was always lanky. Okay, so
So that's
20 game win streak, lose the walks at Hatchie, win the last couple games of the season, then you go you win 2 rounds in the playoffs.
They beat Lake Highlands in the first round. They beat them by 20.
Wow, just blew them away.
And then they have a really tight game with Flower Mound.
Flower Mound.
Were you
Man.
there?
No.
So Flower Mound had a bunch of good 3-point shooters. Flower Mound's basketball team predominantly white.
Yeah.
Not known for being too athletic, but they are known for hitting threes.
Draining them all day long. Huh?
They wouldn't even dribble. They would just pass it and shoot.
Pass until somebody was open for the 3 ball.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it's basketball, whatever, you know.
Yeah, it's fundamental. So so in a nutshell, that was it.
And we think they're gonna come right back at it, especially with a coach like Brown.
With Coach Brown and the fact that you have Savion Red coming back. Not only is Savion Red going to be a centerpiece, but other kids are moving in.
Yeah.
And it's open enrollment. There's no secret about it. You can
Yeah.
go to GP and sit out a year. Duncanville does it in football. Every year they recruit.
Well, I think that's the
And we
important.
don't. I'm not saying we recruit. I'm saying people move in. But Duncanville does recruit. Let's not. You know.
Right, but that's the important factor there. You have to sit out a year.
Mhm.
It's not like you just come in and play. It's not
have to
free,
sacrifice.
It's not a free agency. You really have to sacrifice. I'd argue that the smart kid would know that the practice is where you get better. And the games obviously help, but
Yeah, it's how you showcase your talent.
but they're able to practice, right? The kids.
Yeah, they are able to practice. So a lot of this stuff is it's just demographics, and it's what part of the city is growing.
Yeah.
Now I could say this that north of I-30 over here, that's the nicer part of GP on the north side,
Yeah.
and then you have towards Kennedy. It's still nice over there by Marshall and Santa Clara.
Boy, nice is so subjective. You
It
know
is.
what I mean? Like,
It is.
some people come into my town, they're like, man, this is poor, old, and crappy. And I'm like, man, it's just relative. It's where you come from. I mean, some people, if you're dirty, you're dirty. And if you're
Right.
not, you're not. You can have a big old 3,000 square foot home.
I would compare Grand Prairie to a Garland.
Sure.
It's very close in demographics.
Unfortunately, I really don't get out of Grand Prairie much. Now, what I mean by that is, I've traveled the world, to be honest with you. And I get out and do things, but like, I'm a homeboy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I live by downtown. My office is by downtown. I'm on city council. That's by downtown.
Convenient.
My church is downtown.
You don't have to go to the south side
I walked up here. Right,
unless you want to.
unless I want to.
You're saving gas.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's just I don't do it to save gas. I don't do it whatever. I just do it because here's my life. Here's what I do. Again, I travel and I go places. It's just that I've built it to where I can walk to work. I can walk to get something to eat. I can walk up to my church. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I've always been that way. Matter of fact, grew up 2 blocks on the other side of City Hall from here.
Okay.
And so, like, literally my entire life.
So you lived over by the Arnolds. Did you know where they lived?
I'm not sure.
They used to live across the street from the GP track in that
Yeah,
big
yeah,
house
yeah.
in that big field over there.
Yeah. So that's that's stadium, more or less.
Yeah.
And so if you take stadium, anyway, yeah, right by there. Matter of fact, you know where the new baseball field is? The Hill Street goes through there. My buddy lived on that lot right there.
Wow.
His family. So, and that was the block behind
They have
me.
the older looking nice house over there.
Yeah. Those homes were built in the 1920s. I think a former governor lived in those. It's a family, and then her mother lives in the next house. So it's like, I'd love for something like that to come available in my area. But anyway,
That'd be real nice.
hey, so what do you do when school's out, man? I mean,
So when school's out, what
Hey.
I'm doing right now is I'm just focusing on my Top Texas Prospect show,
okay,
and that's on Apple and Spotify, Apple
Top
iTunes.
top prospects,
Top Texas Prospects.
top Texas prospects.
And so we interview all kinds of athletes from across the state of Texas, mostly for football.
Yeah.
We'll get into a little bit of basketball if they want to come on, and then
Yeah.
also I got NFL podcast that I've started on. But
Okay, what's that?
that is called the Timeout
Cool.
NFL Show.
Yeah, I saw that on your deal, Matt Timeout Davidson.
Yeah, so we're waiting for Apple to take it because we just put it.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
One of my co-hosts cussed a few times, so they have to make it explicit.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure that out on mine, but once they accept the first one, they usually just as soon as you post it.
Yeah.
That first one that we put up though, it took like a week or two, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the second from that point
and
forward,
then they go fast, right?
Yeah, it's almost immediate.
So we're just waiting on the NFL one to post. It should be any day now, and then we're already on a website with it.
What do you think about that? The cussing, and what I mean by that is like, I mean, if one or two cuss words come out in a casual conversation, do you need to be explicit, or do you have to like monitor it and really say, "Oh, we got to cut that out"?
Well, it's a co-host from Houston that cussed, and he's used to cussing on his podcast show because he has an explicit podcast show. So whenever he came on, we didn't know that he was going to cuss, but he said SHIT,
yeah,
and then he said DAM, and we're just like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I've got a guy I've had on twice.
There it goes, right there.
I've got it. Oh, nice. Couldn't find it yet. Yeah, it's almost there.
It's there. There it goes.
I've got a guy I've had on twice, and they cuss.
Oh, really?
Just a group of 2 or 3 guys that, and I'm not going to stop them.
Mark Henry, Matt Davidson. I'm really the co-host, but yeah, Mark Henry, he's
Is he the one from Houston?
No, so Mark lives in White Settlement.
Nice.
And then I'm over here in Grand Prairie for now. I'm looking at houses in Dallas and stuff like that. But
what's your kind of goal? What's the purpose of just going over football and basketball?
Well,
prospects?
I want to follow my passion. I've always seen myself as a radio guy.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be DJing, hosting on the mic, I try to use all the talent that God gave me. I could change my voice and I could be cartoon character, you know. But it's just the confidence that God gave me.
Yeah.
And I say that, but it may be the confidence that I taught myself as well.
So, have you spent time like planning? Or do you just kind of try to wing it?
I try to do both because I have a lady that helps me. She's almost like a secretary with me, and she says, "Okay, how many podcasts are you doing this week?" And then she writes down who are the guests, and then she'll tell me, "Okay." She was like, "Well," because she's actually writing a book on me in my life because I went through some child abuse when I was little, not with my father or anything, but when my mother's ex-husband when we moved with him.
No way.
So she's writing a book about that.
Wicked.
And how I overcame those obstacles to become better, and I still deal with some depression on that stuff too. But you know, I'm working on those types of things in my life.
Well, dude, we had just our last recording was marriage and family therapist, and we talk a lot about that. It's like the most important thing is to not keep that. Like, some people would be too pride just to say, "Look, you just said right now, I'm battling with depression or whatever."
Well, it took me like 8 years to tell somebody.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. It did, because things happened to me, and
if sometimes it takes 8 years to get it all out because it took 8 years because you held on for 8 years.
Our most recent show is the top one with the kid from Georgetown. He lives down by the Austin area. He's a good kid.
So mostly football then, right?
Oh, it's all football right now. We had on Brian Gossett from the Star Telegram down there.
Yeah.
We've had on a lot of big guests. This kid from Highland Park, he's going to be a very big quarterback. Braden Traeger.
And so do y'all just reach out to these guys and say, "Hey, can we talk to you?"
Well, on my Twitter, a lot of kids tag me because that's what I'm known for. Tag Matt Davidson, and he'll retweet your highlights.
Nice.
And so with that being said, all I got to do is watch their highlights and be like, okay, I want you to come on the show.
Yeah.
And then I look like I'm finding hidden talent.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
In reality, the kids are just sending me their film.
Matt, I'm impressed, man. I really like what you're doing here. It's super cool.
And for Apple iTunes users, we're on Apple as well. I like Spotify as well.
Yeah. How often are you going to do the show?
We do it every Thursday.
Weekly?
Thursday night. So we just recorded an episode last night with David Robinson.
No, Admiral?
No.
I was about to say.
This guy goes by D-Rob.
Yeah.
He trains Des Bryant.
Okay, yeah, you were telling me about that.
Trains Antonio Brown.
Very cool.
Trains his cousin that plays for the Ravens, Hollywood Brown.
And most of them you're able to do like via phone or whatever?
It's all via Skype.
Skype.
It makes them feel more comfortable if we don't do it over the phone.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's funny, the phone,
They don't want their number being out there.
That's it.
Yeah. Because this guy works with Des, and he was telling us, we talked to him off the air. I said, what would it take to get Des? And he was like, Des doesn't like the media right now.
I imagine.
And I said, well, what would it take? And he said, it would take me talking to Des and assuring him that you wouldn't ask him any hard questions.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what if I told him we just throw him softballs and let him talk what he wants? And he said, yeah, but wait till he signs with a team first.
Yeah, that'll be
Because he's still a free agent right now.
Des Bryant, man.
Most passionate Cowboy I've ever seen in my life.
I'm telling you, man. There's no doubt. That guy, and
if he wouldn't have gotten in those arguments on the sideline, you can't tell me he still wouldn't be a Cowboy to this day.
Oh, for sure. You know, you got to be careful. I mean, you can't interrupt. You know, I mean, and again, I don't want to. I wasn't there. I didn't know what they were saying. I don't know what he was talking about. So that's not what.
I was told he wants the ball more.
Yeah, well,
he was like, "Throw me the ball."
Who doesn't, right?
You're not throwing me the ball enough. That's what his complaint was with the wide receivers coach, and the wide receivers coach was like, "Do your job."
Yeah. Jeez.
And then that coaching staff is gone. But here's what happened. And people we talked about this on the NFL podcast show.
Yeah.
88 was given to CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb?
Our new draft pick that we drafted.
That's the new guy.
Stud wide receiver from OU.
Yeah.
How did he fall to the Cowboys? I don't know. But thank you, NFL, for letting us get him.
Yeah.
With that being said.
You said he's going to get 88?
He's going to get 88 because you know why? Because Jerry doesn't want to have to deal with the media asking him about Des Bryant anymore.
Coming back.
When you kill that number, Des knows he can't come back as a Cowboy. 88's his number.
Well, so he doesn't get offers, or he gets very few offers.
He was with the Saints and he tore his Achilles.
Okay, I remember. No, and so what I was going to say is, what if Jerry offers him decent money, good money, but he can't have 88? He's not coming, is he?
I think that would hurt Cowboy fans more than it would hurt Des.
Yeah.
Because Cowboy fans are passionate about Des.
I wonder if your CD boy would give it up.
He would.
I bet he would, yeah.
He would. This is Jerry. Okay, so Jerry came out and said he had a friend in college at Arkansas that wore 88 and his name was Lamb. And he just passed away. His last name was Lamb and he just passed away. So he thought it'd be special for Lamb to honor him and continue the trend of Drew Pearson, Michael Irvin, Des Bryant, 88, CeeDee Lamb.
No way. Man, that's cool. So is your deal mostly like are you trying to
Do you want to hear the NFL show a little bit? We just recorded it.
Well, yeah, I mean, what do you mean do I want to hear it?
Oh, do you want to check it out on the website?
Yeah.
So this one is actually, because we're waiting for Spotify and Apple to accept it, this one is called LoneStarPodcast.com.
Okay.
And then you will see.
That's an excellent domain name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's good to grab that.
Well, I essentially had to sell out to get on the website because he was like, you give up 50% of the commercials.
Yeah.
So the latest episodes is where you would probably click.
Lone Star Podcast.
Or maybe shows will pop up. Okay, so there we go. There's my logo.
Time out, yeah.
Sorry.
Where'd it go?
I told him to click that. That's my fault.
Yeah.
But if you go click on the draft, Earl Thomas, Bill O'Brien,
Just
if you
hit
click play on that, that'll give you a little idea of what we do.
How long are your episodes usually going?
This one's 53 minutes.
Nice.
But that was our first
30.
episode.
What are you trying to do? Does it matter?
I want to do typically 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But that's our first one we did.
It'll load up.
Yeah, it's just take a second. That's why I'm hoping it hurries up and gets on Apple because it's more accessible.
Are you trying to do most Cowboy stuff, or does it really matter?
We talked a lot of Cowboys on there, but I want to be a little bit more transparent and talk all NFL because I don't want to just be Cowboys.
Well, and you're saying Lone Star Podcast. I mean, it sounds like it's more Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in prospects and very cool.
Most definitely. We talked about Bill O'Brien and the fact that he traded his best player for a bag of chips and a fourth-round pick.
Which one's Bill O'Brien?
He is a former coach of the New England Patriots, but he's the head coach of the Houston Texans.
Okay. Man,
maybe if you click, maybe if you click on shows, it would do better. I'm not sure.
When I cut the cable, that also went TV, and I mean regularly watching TV, which also took my sports away. So honestly, last year or so, I haven't watched much sports.
Man,
I miss it. At first, it was kind of a relief. Like I wasn't just living my life around whatever sport was on at the time. And it was kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool. And now, man, Rangers baseball, more than anything else I'm missing. There's a lot of stuff on there. What is all that? Just different comments and characters?
Those are all different podcast shows, yeah.
Oh, from Lone Star Podcast. Oh, that makes sense. I see what you're doing there.
Yeah.
Maybe it was not. Now, are you able to submit your recording to them, and so they have it there?
Yes,
and
they're actually a podcast website, yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
So they give us a platform.
Well, hey, man.
But that's not the only platform we have. Like I said, we have Apple, Spotify. We have other ones. And then we have their other website that they have as well, which is LoneStarGridiron.com.
Well, once that we used Anchor.fm. That's how we got. They did all that for us. But once you get on the Spotify and Apple, I mean, it's just rolling from there. It's so much easier access. Man, we got about an hour here. That's kind of what I wanted to do.
Nice.
We covered some good ground.
We did. It was good. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I hope you consider coming doing this again.
Yes, I do.
Especially once we get some GP sports going. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
It'd make it easy for me to talk about some content.
Yeah, for sure. Matt, thanks a lot, buddy.
Thank you, brother.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good one, brother.
Yeah.